The football club Ulsan Hyundai FC is having a near-perfect season in the K-League so far. The club currently sits on top of the table and have a wide gap between them and second-placed Pohang Steelers. And one of the players that's been contributing to the team's strong performances this year is the Swedish forward Gustav Ludwigson. The 29-year-old joined the club in January this year, and he made an immediate impact, scoring a winning goal on his debut. Tell us all about it. It's a pleasure for us to say today that he joins us via video call for this week's Touch Base in Seoul. Mr. Ludwigson, hello and welcome to the show.
Hello. Nice pronunciation of the name. I like it. I've heard a lot of different variations since I came here, so that was good.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, congratulations on an incredible season so far. It looks like Ulsan are well on the way to retaining the title. Tell us, how do you feel? What's the mood like in the dressing room at the moment?
It's good. A bit up and down this week. We unfortunately didn't manage to go through in the FA Cup, but I guess that makes us being able to focus 100% on the K-League. So, and with the win this weekend, it's a good way to bounce back. So, yeah, the mood is good.
Sure, I know you've only joined at the start of this season, January, but looking at what you've seen so far, what do you think has been the key factors behind the team's success so far?
I think there was a well-balanced team already coming in to this season, and yeah, it's just some. I have learned that it's a bit difficult always with the team building, with the army and everything. So, but I think like taking all this in consideration, the like management is doing a great job with keeping the team balanced, and as soon as is a bit of out of shape, then another one steps in and performs, and yeah, the coach keeps everyone on edge all the time. So and still being able to keep everyone happy is really difficult. I know a lot of teams struggle with this when you want to compete on the highest level, having big squads, but keeping everyone happy is really important, and I think they're doing a great job with it.
So it seems like you're crediting the head coach with a lot of praise there. What's he been like?
Yeah, I would say like the head coach in combination with his staff around him, and yeah, as I said, the management as well. I know, or at least I have learned that he's one of the biggest names in Korean football, and he gives he has a lot of authority, and like all the players have big respect for him, and his words are the law. So I think this is for a coach. There are different styles, of course, of coaching. He's a bit more I don't know how to say, but he has like maybe not so personal relations with the players, but instead he brings yeah, a lot of respect. So yeah, that's his style of coaching, and it works really well for us.
Sure, he's famous, Hong Myung-bo, for being quite the warrior on the pitch. He seems quite intimidating on the sidelines as well. Is that what he's like?
And of course, as well on the side, like on the side of everything. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say intimidating, but yeah, you certainly have respect for him, and
Sure.
he brings up some like qualities, as you say, the way he played. I guess he brings that out in us as well. Everyone wants to fight for the team, and it's really important for him, like this kind of team spirit. So I think that is probably his main like point when something is not working. It's usually this he will go to and encourage us.
Yes, he demands respect. In the meantime, you've had a great season so far as well, it seems. You've managed to score a goal on your debut as well, as I mentioned. It was a winning goal, no less, against the long-time title rivals, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors. That certainly, I think, endeared you to the fans right away at Ulsan. What was that like to score on your debut?
Yeah, it was a lot of emotions. Just a lot of confusion at the same time when I scored, since I just came in a position also that was hadn't like been training on so much, at least here. I've had some like difficulty in the preseason with some injuries, so yeah, I was thrown into this game, and of course, being told how important it was before, I just tried to play my game, and then to score the goal, I was like, okay, let's just keep this. It was 100% defense from that point, and yeah, the winning goal. So yeah, it was a good feeling.
Sure, I'm sure scoring that first goal helped you settle in quickly. But can you tell us also more about your journey to Korea so far? I believe you made the switch from Hammarby IF in the Swedish top flight to Ulsan in January this year. But actually, before we get into that, tell us more about your career in general, because I believe you have quite the story. You've been compared to the English football player Jamie Vardy before, because you started your career in the Swedish seventh tier and then made all the way up to the country's top flight as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure like about the differences between the Swedish league system and the Korean league system, but we have a different like setup. We don't have like university teams and stuff like that. So instead, we have a like how do you say like smaller teams around the small cities where so we have a lot of teams like which makes a lot of divisions as well.
Hmm.
So the have two teams, and there was one in I think they both for some time played in the seventh division, and it's the team I grew up in, and yeah, I started playing in the like senior team when I was maybe 18 years and played there until I was 21 or something, and I've also been playing there since like in the team since I was 6. So for me, that was what football was like. It was just joining the senior
Hmm.
team in the seventh division was like a big thing for me. I had seen a lot of my friends dropping off on the way, since yeah they didn't think it was they didn't want to spend that time. But I loved football so much, so for me it was just the best thing ever to play in that seventh division team.
Right, and as I said, you made it all the way up to the Swedish top flight as well. You had a successful career in Sweden, but then this opportunity came up for you to come to South Korea. Tell us about how that opportunity came up and what went through your mind when that offer first came in.
Yeah, a lot of things. As I said, or as you said, I moved up the system in Sweden first, going a bit out of my comfort zone, of course, changing clubs, trying to make my way up, even though it was difficult for me to keep that dream alive of going to the top tier in since yeah, of course, I wasn't getting younger, but when I managed in the end come to the top tier in Allsvenskan, I had some good years there, and it was actually the year before this one, or like 2 years ago, where I got the first interest from Ulsan, and I stayed that season. But then next season, I felt like okay, I did some like managed to do then some research and follow Ulsan during the year, and I thought that this really exciting project. And then when they came back again the next year, I was like, yeah, this is my chance to try something outside of Sweden. And of course, playing in all these different divisions through the Swedish system, I was like, okay, yeah, I have to try to take this to the next level.
Were you nervous at all? As we said, you spent your entire career in Sweden, but then to change clubs, not just change club and league, but to change continents from Europe all the way to Asia and South Korea. I imagine that's quite a leap.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe that was what made me think one extra like step the year before. But yeah, processing this thought made me realize that this is what I wanted to try. And during my whole life, I've learned like I grew to like a challenge like this. I've lived in both Portugal and France for periods during my like growing up after school. So I was, yeah, I saw this as another adventure, and kind of like everything for me, like after this long career I had, like I just see everything as a bonus. So of course, I didn't know how, or I still don't know how this will turn out.
Mm,
I have a 3-year contract, so, but yeah, I just try to do my best and what happens and whatever, like when I come back, I know it's gonna be have been a great adventure, whatever happens. So
sure.
that's how I see it now. And of course, now I want to do good things with Ulsan. So.
Well, how has that adventure been so far? Once you came to Korea, what did you find, and what perhaps did you find that you didn't expect?
You always find a lot of things once you get like actually living in a country, like not being just a tourist. I think this is a really part of like moving to a country instead of just visiting for a long time. Uh, it's all these small things that you learn, like the cultural differences that are very difficult to like really get in depth when you're just traveling
Mm,
or so I don't know, it's it's difficult to say, but yeah, just trying to learn the Korean life is exciting as well, and comparing it to how Sweden works with everything, it's there are a lot of similarities. For me, I think Korea is a really well-run country. It's not, they don't have a big issue with criminality and like a good school system and like stuff like this that are similar to Sweden. So in that sense, it's been like an easy uh, process to like learn how everything works. But
mm.
of course, there are big differences as well.
I imagine, yes, I'm sure language barriers as well, and perhaps some culture clashes with food, maybe as well. How are you finding all that?
Yeah, of course. To be honest, I was expecting more people to speak English. I tried to ask some of my teammates, like, how do you travel in Asia? Because there's not like one, except for English, there's not another language that
Mm,
everyone understands. So I guess some, I think some people or some guys in the team also understands more than they speak. They were speaking a bit because they're maybe so comfortable with the language.
mm.
But yeah, I was a bit surprised with I thought more people would like be speaking English. So it's been interesting to say the least with like
Sure.
yeah, the translators and everything on the trainings. But yeah, and the food is yeah, it's a different style, but I think it's a good balance for me. We get the lunch, it's a bit adapted for us foreigners, the food
Right.
we get on the clubhouse, but
Right.
as well you can choose to have the Korean food and try new stuff, so you can like ease it in to your everyday life. So I think that's a good balance, and then I cook some Swedish food when I come home, and some days I try to learn some Korean recipes. So I try to, I have a good balance there as of now, I think.
Right, so it seems like you're making the effort to dive into the culture here in Korea off the field. And how has it been on the field as well? How's the football been? How's that transition been for you as well?
It's been up and down. I'm not gonna say that it's been easy because it's a big challenge. I think a lot of people underestimate Korean football in general, especially in Europe, because it's a different time zone and everything. You never see Korean football, and it's yeah, it's difficult to get like a good picture of it. And while I was think had this year of thinking about joining Ulsan, I watched a lot of like the highlights and stuff on the yeah, on YouTube and stuff, and I was really impressed. And also when I came here, it's yeah, as I said, I think a lot of people underestimate the quality of the players and the tempo in the games, and especially in a team like Ulsan, it's so many top level players here.
Hmm.
Playing for the national team, and of course the national team is doing good, like in the World Cup. So that says everything about the level. Yeah, so I'm still trying to learn and trying to yeah, take this challenge and adapt and yeah, improve, of course.
Sure. Well, we're almost out of time, but as a final note, what are your aims then for your time in Korea, and what message perhaps do you have for the fans as well?
I just want to make Ulsan, the number one club in in Korea. They started like this journey last year with winning the gold, being the champions, and for me it's all about keeping this going. I know John Book has won like a lot of consecutive championships the past year, so yeah, my goal is to change this into Ulsan winning consecutive championships. So however I can contribute to this is just my goals, and yeah, we'll see how this season ends, but yeah, I'll just keep fighting for this.
Well, I'm sure the fans will be glad to hear that. We wish you luck for the remainder of the season, although it doesn't look like you'll need a lot of it. We've been speaking to Gustav Ludwigson from Ulsan Hyundai FC. Thank you once again for your time today.
Thank you so much.